Well, we are back with part 3 of this interview series with TeslaHerbert, the guy with a great Twitter feed and an even better Tesla YouTube channel. He's awesome and he's fun, and he has set out a bunch of milestones that Tesla should achieve in 2022 and beyond, and they have hit them, and they're hitting them still. And this, well, is part 3. Parts 1 and 2 are in the description. Check it out, and here we go.
So Dojo launch, we talked about Supercharger Partner. Okay, I know a lot of people give me lots of questions about this, even you, I think, because I was it's very confusing of what I was trying to say with this, right? So last December, Tesla partnered with Globus. So they announced that they're going to install 612 superchargers in 51 stores in Germany, right? So this is a partnership with a retailer, a hotel, or a gas station, some sort of restaurant maybe chain in the US that's going to partner with Tesla to be able to have superchargers available in their locations. These are not destination chargers. These are superchargers. So for example, we know that Target made that announcement a couple years ago, and they were just kind of dabbling. They said, I'll have 52 superchargers, and one store in each state or something will have a supercharger station in it, right? So I believe, and I think there's an announcement that Buc-ee's and Tesla made. They said that they're going to have a partnership in 26 stores across 7 states. So I'm saying there should be a partnership with a organization that's going to be at least 100 sites. So a Starbucks, a McDonald's. And so if you think about it, the world has changed since last year, right? Everybody is now realizing that the world is now EV companies. EV cars is going to be what the world is, and it's going to happen sooner than later. And with Supercharger being announced, Tesla's saying, hey, we're going to accept all EVs. If you were Starbucks or McDonald's, why won't you go and make an announcement and say, just like Hertz did, right? Hey, we're going to be partnered with Tesla, and any car with EV, you can come to our store, you'll find a charging station. The excitement, the brand, the kind of like it'll stick in people's heads that, hey, if I need to charge, I just go to a local McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree.
Yeah. So I just think
And
it's
the
going to
bigger the partner, the better.
What's that?
And the bigger the partner, the better.
Yeah. So this is just me guessing and thinking that by Q4 there's going to be a big announcement, like similar to what we saw with the Hertz. The very first mover that comes out, it's going to be a big deal for that company. So I think the writing's on the wall that it's just going to happen. So
Tesla Semi, more than 25 delivered.
Yeah, so we know that Tesla Semi Pepsi has a small number of test units. We know that these what do you call them? Are they called these what are the superchargers called for the semis?
Mega chargers.
Mega chargers, thank you. So these mega chargers are already being built. But so the number 25 was given to me by a bunch of experts I was talking to. Like, at what point do you think that Semi is not just being prototyped and tested anymore? It becomes a real sale with a real company with enough numbers to show that they're actually going to go in production, not just I'm playing around it, piloting it still. So I don't know if it's going to happen Q4. It likely is going to be next year, as we know. I do have a friend who works at the Tesla Semi division of, and I'm not getting any information that's secret or anything like that. But I just think it's going to be next year. But I'm just being hopeful that by Q4 it won't just be 3 to 5 pilots, but they'll actually have 20, 25, and then full scale production somewhere middle half next year.
Do you remember what the retail price is on the Tesla Semi?
No.
150 for the small one, 180 for the big one.
Yeah, that's so cheap. Yeah.
If they can do it, Mack Truck is now taking orders and building and shipping their electric big rig, and it's 500,000. It's got a 378 or 387 kilowatt hour battery.
Yeah,
It's not very big for something that heavy.
And now just add on the idea of autopilot. And so autopilot exists today, right? You don't have to wait for FSD. You just have autopilot on the highway, which is proven. And then they do the daisy chain, right?
Right? Caravan?
So the Caravan, and so they'll just turn this on, and when you're the first company, imagine that. I mean, just autopilot. So just so much safer. I drive at highways. I live from Seattle. I go to Vancouver, where my family lives in Canada. I cannot live without autopilot on anymore. I feel safer with it on. So I always think about the truck drivers, right? They will love autopilot. So
It it reduces mental exhaustion.
yeah, huge, right? You use it a lot. I just can't live without it anymore. Yeah.
New Gigafactories announced, one
So
or two.
yeah, this is what we talked about a little bit earlier. I think it's not going to be just one or two. I think it's going to be three or four. I put one or two because that's kind of like the general a belief by most people. And I put in Q4 because I think we heard Elon say that we're not going to announce it till later.
I agree.
Yeah. But
And
I
you've
think they're going to
mentioned
announce it. They're going to announce it, and then they're going to build it next year. But come on, they've already have experience with 4 gigafactories. They know how to build this properly. You just saw the Indonesian premier visit several times. You know what I'm saying? And he's going to do extreme scale. So can I tell you about my thinking about the factory is the product? Okay.
Right.
So I'm a product manager. So this is why it gets exciting. They have, and Elon specifically has repeated the statement, the factory is the product over and over and over again. In fact, the latest was when we were at Giga Texas Cyber Rodeo. He said it again, and there was actually a big poster, a big sign area, right? Okay, what does it mean when he says the factory is the product? So what he means is that, okay, well, I am treating it like a product, okay? But if you have a product, if a factory is a product, you don't just create onesie twosies. I'm going to create one here and two next year and two more next year and two more next year. No, you're going to treat it like a product. I created one, then I create two. Now I'm going to create 4. Then I'm going to create 8. Then I'm going to create 16. Then I'm going to third 2. And I'm going to sell that Giga product to other partners, to other customers. So that's, as a product manager, that's what I hear. And so I can't imagine that they're going to say this year, we're going to launch 2 more gigafactories. Because that's what they said last year. Why would you have to stick to 2 when you've already got the experience of launching these 2? You're going to say 4. All right? And you know already how to get regulatory approval. You know how to build it properly. You know how to, expand and all that. Now, all of this is the supply chain issue is probably what's going to slow them down, right? And then I believe strongly that once they create these factories, they're going to license it out to OEM companies. I don't know. That's another wishful thinking on my part, but
I think that one might be too big of an ask. By the way, did you know that they submitted plans for expansion to double the size of Berlin?
yes, yeah. They expanded
Wonderful.
right,
So
and
really,
that?
Shanghai
Yeah.
and Berlin's massive expansions are these are going to be checked off.
Yeah, exactly. So that I mentioned earlier that I don't mean new locations. As you know,
Right.
as you saw, as you are the expert in, you showed you show Giga Texas has room for like 5, 7, right?
I don't know. I saw that. That one wasn't me, but I did different math that came up with a little bit better numbers. Somebody had said, "Oh, it could hold 2 or 3," and I was like, "Nah,
Right.
it's not that big." I've got it in
So
my spreadsheet. I think it's
my
192
belief
acres out of
is
200, 2,500.
I think that if you carry this forward, why would you create a gigafactory that has multiple lines in it for different variants of your products? I think they're going to create a very specific one for semi. They're going to have another factory specifically for Robotaxi, dedicated Robotaxi, and they might have another factory for bots. And the bots must be in Texas because that's their headquarters.
Right. Yeah. And who's the first customer for the bot? Right. Tesla or SpaceX or both. And if you can get them to run the boring machines,
I had the same thought as
oh,
you just said there. I mean,
yeah,
imagine if
yeah,
SpaceX announces that we're going to buy, I don't know, name a number, right? 5,000 bots, 10,000 bots, and they're going to fund it, right? Makes-
right. But even for the boring tunnels, one of your biggest expenses is human safety.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Get rid of the humans.
Not gonna be able to do boring tunnels yet,
No,
but yeah,
not
maybe. Yeah.
yet. But that's the dream. That's the dream.
So that's that. Now licensing with one legacy OEM. Again, it's you know that these OEMs can't do it. They can't create a car that's profitable. They can't create. They need to be able to take advantage of the single stamp front and rear end, right? You get cast, and so it's just inevitable that Tesla will be able to license their either just the battery skateboard or the front end and the back end, right? And then the other manufacturers just put on their kind of look and feel front top to make it their car. And then the software is out, including FSD. So what I think is going to happen is all these OEMs will refuse to do anything. Then they're going to get in trouble. And the thing is that the very first one or two that makes an announcement that they're going to partner with Tesla, the rest are in shit creek. They're going to die. It's going to be over for them. So again, this is another thing where I just can't imagine that we won't have at least one OEM saying that they're going to partner with Tesla.
Right. And and that'll create a rush for all the runners up to partner with other runners up. Not ideal.
And I heard that Panasonic, so they supply Tesla, as we all know, but they only have capacity to supply one or two other partners. And so once the first time we start partnering with them, then the rest are going to be out of they won't be able to do it. So it's just going to happen, right? Somebody's ego will need to just flip off and do it.
App Store launch.
Yeah, so we all saw in December with the new holiday release, we saw the kind of the new version of the UX of UI of the car, and you can actually see it's already looking very much like an app launcher, and you can move apps around. And so it's, I created a list, and one of my milestone lists is actually the list of all the potential app store kind of items. And so, but it's going to be like they're going to potentially new revenue stream if this all works out, right? So, take me to McDonald's, the car drives you to McDonald's, and then you pay for it through the car, and then they get a cut. And so there might be a McDonald's app, built in. As you drive around the city, the local businesses might be able to advertise to you, or kind of if you go, find out more information about them, so again, every little thing that they create is a one step closer to a car sharing or a Robotaxi kind of model. And this is just the next thing is App Store.
Ride sharing launch.
So in this one, I might be wrong on this one, which is this notion that, we've heard Tesla talking about Robotaxi, and it's going to replace Uber. Okay. But before you get there, would you do a ride sharing kind of thing, like more like a Turo, more like like the human drivers? You're still going to use human drivers, but you're testing out your app. You're testing out how people can hail a ride, but there's drivers. There's still so basically it's a Uber knockoff. I might be wrong, because in an interview that was published this morning by the Tesla owners of Silicon Valley, he kind of poo-pooed the idea of ride sharing. The way he said it was, we're so busy with the factory, we just don't have bandwidth to think about these other things like car sharing and others. So this one may not happen anymore.
Q4 earnings with record revenue.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Because Berlin and Texas coming in hot.
Yeah.
Shanghai back up to and at new capacities.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. But barring, what's going to happen to the war, is there going to be a massive recession of some sort that's significant? But the conversation I've been having with some very intelligent economics people, they're saying that despite of a recession, Tesla is recession proof, and that they will still be able to sell, and they'll still be able to produce. And then, so the only thing that could actually stop them would be another COVID scenario, but not the recession.
Makes sense to me.
Hopefully. I don't know.
And early next year, compact car or Robotaxi design reveal.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
when
Absolutely.
when we were at the Cyber Rodeo and you saw that they made a big deal about Robotaxi, dedicated Robotaxi. So what does dedicated Robotaxi mean? In my mind, what I heard was they're going to create a car that is dedicated for the Robotaxi. So they believe so strongly that Robotaxi is going to happen that they're starting to design it now. Now, the debate that I'm still having with a number of very smart Tesla experts is that many people still believe that Tesla is going to create a compact car. This was sometimes called the $25,000 car.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. So
Really?
if you believe, and you told me you did, that FSD beta is well on track, and Elon reiterated that FSD is going to be ready by the end of this year, which is 6 months from now. So it's going to be ready. And if you believe that Robotaxi will happen, and they're designing, they made a big deal about designing a Robotaxi, why, if you created a car, why would you sell it to a retailer, to consumers like us? And you wouldn't. What you would do is you would own the car and you would do Robotaxi, right? And so what I think will happen is that there'll be like trucks, like there'll be like 10 to 20% of consumers being able to buy a car. But from then on, it's going to be more fleet managers that's going to be able to do Robotaxi. And they're the ones that's going to buy this car. And they're going to, because Tesla will make 5 times the revenue, right? He talked about that, not just, one time gross margin on a sale. It's going to be ongoing 5 times the revenue. So
I will tell you why I believe the Model Q is what I'm calling it.
Yes.
Is going to happen is eventually people, I don't think, will own cars. But for now, it is part of our culture. It is how we were raised and who we are. We are a car people. Maybe it'll take off quicker in Europe, but I believe in a lot of places, even Asia, in the Chinese market, in the US market for sure, people want their things. We are all gatherers. And I think there will not be, I think it'll take time to build up the societal acceptance of not owning a car.
Well, you're dealing with Tesla, which is about changing and breaking societal acceptance of things.
Sure. But if they have the capacity to build more and the customers to buy them, they'll do it. Yeah. And also, here's my other theory. The Robotaxi will be the boring tunnel shuttle bus.
Yes, I agree with you. Do you want to hear my theory?
It's the right form factor either way. Yes, please. That's why we're here, Herbert.
So I've been asking this question in my interviews. How would you design a dedicated Robotaxi? Well, the way I think of it is that, and I'm going to be wrong, okay? I'm already accepting the fact that this is all bullshit. It's wrong. What I would do if I was Tesla is I would actually make it a single stamp car, single stamp.
Okay.
And so therefore you won't, and I actually think it's going to be stainless steel, not aluminum, but there won't be windows. Okay. It's going to be either a two-person car or a 6-person car. They'll be facing back to back and you can flip around to face each other, but you're basically looking inside and you're going to have screens all over to watch movies. And if you want to see the outside, it's through the screen. But it's going to have to be a single stamp. It's his dream of creating a car with just one stamp. So
that's breathtaking. That is visionary. If that is something we see, that's going to be Cybertruck level catalyst, I think.
Right. It's going to look like the Cybertruck, but with or without windows.
Without windows.
But that's why.
And, with seating back to back, you face. It doesn't matter which direction in the tunnel you're going.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying that I agree with you that it's going to be the same thing that they'll use in the tunnel. And if you're in the tunnel, you don't need windows, right? But you need to be entertained, and so they need to create screen. Screen. The entire thing is screen, so you can actually create scenery. You can create movies. You can create. Anyway, like if you were going to design a dedicated Robotaxi, how would you do it? Right? It's going to have like sliding doors, like a van, so it's easy entry in and out. I still think you might need the crumple zones. So, do you need a front and back? You might not, but you need crumple zones to protect yourself,
But I think that's easy to do with the front and rear castings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. I love it. And finally, the big dog, Cybertruck launch Q2 of
And
23.
he talked about it this morning in the video that was released this morning, and he said that it's going to be this time next year. So June next year.
Very exciting. Very, very exciting. Ah, TeslaHerbert, thank you so much for your time. I look forward, I always watch, I keep an eye on these, and obviously I think about them because I message you sometimes to ask for clarification and to share new insights. But I really thank you for doing this. I thank you for your channel, which is a lot of fun, which again, link in the description. And I'll put some little clips up during right now so you can see. I mean, it's an interview, so I guess seeing it isn't quite as much believing it, but it's really awesome and I enjoy it. So, yeah, what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? Leave us all your thoughts in them comments below, as usual. And, stay tuned. Oh, and thanks to my Patreons, of course. My goodness, how dare I forget. And who literally keep the channel going. In lean months, sometimes when the stock is down, YouTube is just the devil. So thank you guys for that. And stay tuned, stay juicy. And I can't wait to hear from you guys on the next interview, I suppose.